we're actually conducting a joint hearing with the subcommittees on transportation and public assets and also the National Security Subcommittee. The title of the hearing this morning is, and the subject is addressing oversight of the Urban Area Security Initiative Grant Program. Probably can't start this hearing without just maybe a moment of silence, both to remember the 49 individuals who were killed in Orlando, and then as we all saw last night in Nice, our great allies, the French, lost some 84 people. So we'll just take a minute and pause here and remember those folks. Thank you. It's quite fitting that we do meet today to discuss one of the government programs that tries to deal with the terrorist threat. I'd like to thank our witnesses for being with us and the members attending this morning. First, I want to say that the Subcommittee on Transportation and Public Assets and the Subcommittee on National Security will order that without objection, and the Chair does state at this point that he is authorized to declare recess at any time in this hearing. The order of business will be as follows. We'll have opening statements from the members that are here. Then we will introduce our witnesses. Witnesses will be sworn. Each of them will testify. After we have those introductions and testimony, we will go to questions. We'll wait on having questioning until we've heard from all of the witnesses. So with that, I want to welcome again everyone, particularly our witnesses. I'll start with my opening statement. Again, we come together to look at a federal program that is designed to help our local and state governments deal with the terrorist threat that our nation and the world is facing right now. This program, which is the Urban Security Initiative, was established after 9/11 to aid our state and local governments, and particularly our first responders, with giving them federal assistance because they are our first line of defense in terrorism, and providing federal grants. Over the last few years, we've given on average $1 billion a year on these grants to state and local governments. Unfortunately, I had the experience of working with some of my local governments in Orlando, and my district 3 years ago was changed to represent more of the urban core of Orlando, and at that time got a chance to hear from both the Sheriff of Orange County and also the Police Chief, John Mica, who are two of our witnesses today. They told me there was something wrong with the assessment under this program that's conducted by DHS and FEMA. And they told me that our Central Florida area had the risk assessment changed, in fact, lowered, and it was lowered so much that, in fact, they were denied federal assistance under the program that was designed to give them additional resources to deal with the terrorism threat. So unfortunately, the federal government failed. We won't get into other failures of the federal government we've heard about by federal law enforcement and other agencies. But today we're going to focus on the issue of the failure, the dramatic failure of missing the target in Orlando, Florida, in that particular instance. And then this isn't just a criticism of that particular failure. This is also an effort to find out how we can make our communities safer, how we can make this program work better, and how we can get the resources to those who are on the first line of defense, and do that in an orderly and more effective and targeted fashion. Unfortunately, again, working with this issue, even before the horrible events that took place in Orlando with Sheriff Demings and Chief Mica, we wrote to and appealed the decisions by FEMA and DHS, saying that Orlando had a significant security terrorist risk threat. Each time we were denied. I have to put up on the screen my comments on January 27th of this year. In the last, next to last sentence, I wrote Secretary Johnson, and I said, if Central Florida became a target, it would be a national disaster. Those were my words to the Secretary back then. Since DHS and also FEMA would not change their assessment, we moved forward, and even before, again, the horrible Pulse massacre, we began changing legislative language. I'd like to submit for the record also language that we have included in the DHS appropriations bill, and that's both legislative language and report language to make changes in this program, get back to Congress some of the data and information and assessment prior to it becoming effective. So without objection, we'll put that in the record. Since again, the horrible events in Orlando, our committee and subcommittees have conducted an investigation. Let me just go over briefly and conclude with some of our findings. Some of this is astounding. Of the money since 2011, almost half of the urban area security initiative funds, almost half of these funds are unexpended. We have a slide here that shows $1.1 billion of the $2.8 billion in these awards, or about 40%, remain unexpended. It's stunning that while Orlando got no money the last 2 years, their unexpended funds, now listen to this, from Boston, 2011, $591,000. In New York City, $11.5 million since 2012 sitting idle. Los Angeles sitting idle, almost $19 million. And since 2014, $68 million sitting idle. Tampa, which was one of the recipients, and Miami are the two that received awards in Florida. Tampa had $170,000 left over from 2014. So we're going to need to look at how we get this money distributed, how it doesn't sit idle, particularly when we have the terrorist threat that we have today. This grant program has awarded $8.2 billion since 2003. Also, we found in our investigation and reviewed 2012 is the most recent support, but we found expenditures that weren't justified in this program. Michigan bought 13 snow cone machines. In Ohio, we saw funds from their award given to support a 5-day spa junket featuring an actor zombie apocalypse. These are just a couple of examples that we found of wasteful spending in the program. So we are, in fact, asking today, and I'll ask with Chairman Chaffetz has agreed to ask, and we'll have a letter that we'll submit later in the record, for review by the Inspector General of three areas, both looking at the assessment area, looking at unexpended funds, and then thirdly, at wasteful spending. We need an update, and we need that now. So again, we know that Orlando had received money before, was denied money the last 2 years. We do know that Orlando and Central Florida used money on equipment training, readiness exercises, and communication systems, and other things that probably could have helped. Would it have stopped this terrorist attack? We don't know that. But again, it's our job to make certain that these federal resources are used in a proper manner. So those are some of the things that we found. We've tried to warn FEMA. We tried to correct this before this took place. That didn't happen. Now, with the threat that we face in our community and across the nation, as we've seen, we're all vulnerable. We've got to do a better job. I thank you again as witnesses for coming today. Let me yield to Mr. Lynch, our ranking member.